Finally! Are you ready?
But that's not me, I'm the Switchblade baby.
You, and especially you. Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. Goodbye. Write it down, you like writing things down.
I am your favourite podcaster's favourite podcast. I am
Omega, the Omega Luke Wrestling Podcast.
Hey guys, that is right, you have rightly so tuned into your favourite podcaster's favourite podcast, the People's Podcast, Omega Luke Wrestling. And I'm, of course, the Apex podcaster himself, Omega Luke, and today I have in store for you yet another great fantasy booking matchup from Block A of the Fantasy Booking League. Last week, the Rock Cry guy Nev defeated Roberts as they fantasy booked Pete Dunne to the main roster to put himself joint top with Dominic Elder Baker and today's competitor, Mason Adams. Mason's opponent today is Booker T. Obviously didn't have the best of starts as he mistakenly booked the wrong guy. However, the booking he did, much like the graphic he made for his booking, was very decent. So can he use those positives today to defeat Mason Adams and keep himself in the running for the top spot of the league? As we know, the top spot of each block will go on to face each other in the finale to become the first ever Omega Luke champion and win that elusive Omega Luke undefeated streak of one t-shirt. But before we get going, unfortunately we have had yet another casualty in the league as Kinzakil, for personal reasons, has had to pull out of the league and can no longer compete. But of course, Omega Luke will not let you down. I have found a replacement. And just like Nev, the Rock Cry guy, I am pretty fucking excited to introduce you to them. So here they are.
We are Royally Rumbled.
We're your favorite podcast's favorite podcast.
We've dominated in the Josh and Stu prediction game, where we're the reigning 3-time champions.
And Omega Luke has taken notice. He's offered us a very lucrative deal to be part of his fantasy booking league, taking the place of some jabroni named Kinzer Keel?
Yeah, what kind of a name is that? Anyway, A block, B block, it really doesn't matter to us.
We always compete at the highest level.
Ask the other podcasts that we left in our wake over in the Josh and Stu prediction league.
And we're about to rewrite this entire fantasy booking league.
That is right, the Josh and Stu Prediction League 3-time champions, current champions, and the 2-time God of the Pod winners, Royally Rumbled, have joined the Omega Luke Fantasy Booking League. They will, like Nev, take the place of the person before them and will therefore already have 2 points that they acquire from Kinzakil. And with still 3 matches to go, including MAFF, could really spice up this league for B Block. So welcome Royally Rumbled. I look forward to their debut against the Peaky Blinder Ricky Dent in the following weeks. Okay, let's get to it. Today's competitors are here to fantasy book AJ Styles turning heel in the WWE. And the first guy to book is Booker T. Over to you, George.
My name is Stuart Irvine.
And I'm Joshua Plummer.
And we are the hosts of the Josh and Stu Wrestling Podcast.
Roberts.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Vern Simmons.
Mason Adams.
Kinzer Keel, the infamous one, is back.
The Peaky Blinder Ricky Dent.
Booker T.
Scotty Top Notty.
Tom Elder Baker.
I'm MAFF. I'm the future champion.
The Omega Luke Fantasy Booking League begins today! Hey guys, I am here with the first contestant of today's fantasy booking match. He is back once again. It is Booker T. Booker T, welcome back, mate.
Hello.
How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, not bad, mate. It's been one of them days, but what's motivated me is the fantasy booking. Obviously, I lost my first match, which was bullshit, by the way. But other than that, I'm good. How are you doing? I see you went to the wrestling. How was that?
I did, mate. It was rather good, yeah. It's my first ever WWE show, so...
Is
other
it?
than NXT, yeah. So, yeah, it was pretty good.
Oh, nice. No, good one.
A few bucket lists ticked off, so no, it was good.
Yeah, no, I saw. It's Looked like you had a good time, man.
Yeah, it was decent, mate. But yeah, let's go back to your fantasy booking match, your first one. Obviously, you did lose, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
Bit of a blunder on your side, I suppose.
No, I think I got carried away. I wasn't really paying attention to what you actually said to me. I then went off my little world and created the Young Cuts. And even though it was a good idea, I had fun, created an awesome graphic. I lost.
I've got to admit, mate, to be fair,
I didn't play by the rules.
It was a really good fantasy booking of Tyler Breeze.
I
just
enjoyed it, man.
Shame.
But yeah, so obviously 1 point to your mate, and fuck me, right? But for this one, I'm ready. My opponent, Mason Adams, is going down.
Oh, I like it, mate. I like it. Let's hear it then. Let's go straight for it. Let's hear your AJ Styles heel turn.
Right, okay, so Tyler Breeze and the Young Cuts. Now I'm joking. Right, so this is going to be the AJ Styles heel turn. It's not going to be too long, so which is good. So we're going to continue the AJ Styles title reign. So he's a year and a half into his title reign, and we've got the Royal Rumble. Daniel Bryan and Seth Rollins both win the Royal Rumble, similar to Lex Luger and Bret Hart, 1994. Batista, John Cena, 2005, and they eliminate each other. Both feet land on the floor. So for this year's, next year's main event, we're going to have Daniel Bryan versus Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles. We'll build up to it. They are all friends. No one turns heel just yet. And come Mania, so I know I skipped a lot bit there, but we'll get good, don't worry. Come to Mania, we've got the Andre the Battle Memorial Battle Royal, and Braun Strowman wins it. And he's not the fun-loving babyface we all know him to be right now, which sucks. And also we have on this show, we have The Revival, who win the tag team titles, finally. And then in the main event, we have AJ Styles against Daniel Bryan against Seth Rollins, and this match is epic. Ring of Honor fans are just going mental. It's a dream match for them. And then you've got the indie marks, the WWE crowd, everyone's going wild, reversals, you name it, false finishes, kickouts. And then we've got a ref bump. I love my ref bumps, but it makes sense.
Yes.
And then we've got the Revival who come out and they start attacking Daniel Bryan, who's outside. Daniel Bryan's doing his best to fight them off. Everyone's confused. What's going on? What's going on? Seth Rollins hits the curb stomp on AJ Styles, and who appears out of nowhere? It's Braun Strowman. He gives him a running power slam. AJ's in shock, but he has a little smirk to his face. He slowly climbs over Seth Rollins' body. The ref starts waking up. 1, I can't believe it. 2, say it ain't so. 3, AJ Styles retains the WWE Championship. Everyone is baffled. The fans don't know how to react. Some are booing, some are cheering. It's like Mania 17. But we see the Revival. They come back to the ring. We see Braun Strowman, who raises AJ's hand. The Revival put the belt around AJ Styles' waist. This doesn't make sense. No one knows what's going on. What do these 4 men have in common? Stay tuned for Monday Night Raw. Come Raw. Everyone's waiting. Everyone is waiting. They are glued to the TV. They are glued by their keyboards. They don't know what exactly made AJ Styles align himself with the Revival and Braun Strowman. They don't want AJ's music comes out. He comes out by himself. Everyone's a bit confused. They thought, hold on, we thought you'd be coming out of Braun Strowman and Revival. Not anymore. Until he cuts a promo. He's like, y'all want to know what happened? Let me introduce you to my new buddies. Out comes the Revival. We go, and then we've got Braun. Braun comes out. All 4 men are in the ring, and AJ cuts a promo. He said, "You want to know why? We hate everyone because we are all North Carolina boys. They are all 4 of them are from North Carolina. they feel that they haven't been given the respect and the opportunities that they all deserve. The Revival, for example, they came from NXT, they dominated NXT, and they came to Raw. One got injured. Was he taken care of? No, he wasn't. He was lost in the shuffle. He was on main event with Kurt Hawkins. And they were never given the true opportunities that they deserved. People like Seth Rollins were given more opportunities than them, and he's not even in the tag team. Then, the Revival, they shake hands with AJ Styles, and AJ Styles is proud. And then Braun Strowman. And then AJ Styles said, Braun Strowman, he was kissing babies and hugging fat chicks. And what did that get him? A couple of pups. Was it worth it? Was he shown the respects? Was he given the same opportunities that the Revival deserved? Absolutely not. Again, people like Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, they were given more opportunities than he was. And Braun Strowman was the Southern Monster. We are against the world. North Carolina is against the world. And we will now be known from this day onwards as Southern Discomfort. So now we've got a faction. They have a reason. They have a motive. They feel like... And the reason why AJ has put all these men together is because he is tired of being up against the odds. He is tired of being the face of the WWE when he really isn't the face of the WWE. He hasn't been in the main event truly for a very long time, when in reality he should be. As again, people like your Lesnar's, people like your Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is in kind of in the story. Obviously, I know what's going on. So no one knows what's happening. So AJ's like, it's us against the world. We all have one thing in common, and that's success and glory. Next thing you know, sorry, my cough. And then next thing you know, you've got them. So you've got all 4 men are champions. Well, Battle Royal was a championship, kind of, if you make people care about it. You've got the best big man in the business, Braun Strowman. You've got the new Raw Tag Team Champions, the Revival, and still into his long and lengthy title reign, AJ Styles as the WWE champion. So I would have, from this moment onwards, I would have the Revival feuding with the Authors of Pain. I think that'd be very interesting. Authors of Pain as baby faces. I think obviously the Revival would be underdogs, but then you've got to try not to forget Braun Strowman will be in ringside. So I'd have them trade single wins, but overall on the pay-per-view, I would have the Revival win, barely, due to interference from Braun Strowman. I would have AJ beat Seth Rollins on one pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Due to interference, and I would have AJ beat Daniel Bryan clean. Because I think Seth Rollins at the moment, for me, is the stronger babyface, and I want to protect him a bit more, where Daniel Bryan can afford a clean loss.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. So I'd have, and then we get to Money in the Bank. You've got Southern Discomfort. They're going strong. Best heel faction in a long time. We're going to ignore NXT because I love, and I think I've done NXT twice as well. Anyway, and they're going strong. We've got Money in the Bank, and now we've got AJ Styles, and he's basically done an open challenge. He said whoever wins Money in the Bank tonight will have to cash in. Kurt Angle doesn't like it, but Baron Corbin, he says, I like that idea, we'll do that tonight. So after, we'll have 6 men go through a tough ladder, I was about to say Battle Royal, a tough ladder match, and then we've got Seth Rollins, Daniel Bryan, makes sense. I'd have Dean Ambrose, you need a heel in there, and I'd have, let's just go with him, Apollo Crews, he's still called Crews, yeah, shows how much I pay attention. Jinder Mahal, and the returning Brock Lesnar. I want a Brock Lesnar face in my story. So Brock Lesnar wins, he destroys everyone, and the crowd's going nuts. You've now got a strong baby face. Brock doesn't care. Brock just wants to kick ass, and become the champion again. So I'd have AJ Styles doesn't know what to do. He's in the back. Brock Lesnar takes out the Revival backstage. We're getting to the main event. Braun Strowman is about to come out. Brock Lesnar takes him out. And then we've got AJ and Brock in a match, the main event. And they're going back and forth. Crowd's going nuts for Brock. And the Revival come out again. A little bit WCW, but Vince Russo owns. And Brock Lesnar takes out the Revival. Crowd. No, he's still nearly 2 years in. Braun Strowman comes out, and Brock finally gets rid of him, but this is all knackering out Brock Lesnar. AJ Styles kicks him in the balls when the ref's not looking, rolls him up. 1, 2, 3. Now we've got an unstoppable champion. There's no beating him at all. And then I'd have a celebration party for Southern Discomfort. You know, it's gonna be all Southern, like yeehaw. Michael Hayes in the background. No. Shut up. I'm just being very stereotyping. I'm stereotyping all Southern people, or South Carolina, North Carolina. Anyway, you get the point. My fancy book, and go fuck yourself. Not you, Luke, but you know. But anyway, so they're having a good time. Remember AJ Styles and TNA when he was with Christian Cage and Tomko? AJ Styles is a bit more goofy. He's having a good time. He knows that no one can stop him. And then all you hear, dude. It's Roman Reigns. He comes back. He says, if leukemia can't stop me, you certainly won't stop me. And that goes for you Southern boys as well. So the Revival tries to attack him. He throws him out the ring. Braun Strowman tries to attack him. He throws his ass out the ring. And AJ Styles, he tries to go for a flying forearm. Roman Reigns hits him midair with a spear, and he holds the belt up. He says, I'm taking back what belongs to me. And I'd probably cut this point, to be fair, because I would have Roman Reigns be announced as the number one contender because he never lost the title due to an unfortunate illness, which I do generally high on his fantasy booking, but we all hope he kicks ass and overcomes it. But I'd have him come back. He's the top babyface. Not a single fanboy is booing him. You know, the keyboard warriors, they're cheering him. And I'd have Roman Reigns cost the Revival the title because he eliminates Braun Strowman from the ringside. AOP, I know they're big guys, but you know, Braun Strowman's a big guy as well. So Revival lose the belts. Roman Reigns is doing everything he can to stop Southern Discomfort. The name actually sounded better in my head, to be fair, but you know. And we've got the title match. It's AJ and Southern Discomfort tries to come out, but we've got AOP come out, Authors of Pain. We've got Seth Rollins. We've got Daniel Bryan. We've got even Lesnar. Everyone is going to make sure that Roman Reigns beats AJ Styles. No one actually interferes in the match, but they all fight off some discomfort. AJ Styles goes for the Stars Clash. He reverses it. He spins him into the ropes, whips him into the ropes, and he hits him with a spear. 1, 2, 3. Roman Reigns is now your new world heavyweight champion. Doo-doo. 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 That is the end.
Brilliant. Thank you, mate.
That's alright, no problem at all.
Let's find out whether you win in the outro, but first, let's hear your opponent. Hey guys, I am now here with the second competitor of the Omega Luke fantasy booking match of AJ Styles heel turn. In this A block match against George Booker T, it is Mason Adams. Mason, welcome back on, mate.
Hello, mate. How you doing?
I'm good. It seems like a long time since you were last on. It's been a while, so I'm glad to get you back on.
Yeah, well, like obviously, I think I did a double header at the beginning, didn't I? So yeah, it does seem quite long ago, actually.
Yeah, but it's nice to get you back on. I'm excited to hear your idea. I know you've had it for quite a long time already.
Yeah.
Your opponent, obviously, didn't have a great start in the league.
No.
Fantasy booking the wrong guy.
Yes.
However, I think me and you have both spoke about it already. It was a pretty decent booking of Tyler Breeze.
Oh, mate, I was very impressed. And if he had booked the right superstar, I feel he would have won that.
Yeah.
like hands down. Like nothing against Dom, his booking was very good, but the effort he put into it, it's just if he got that right superstar, I think he would have won.
Yeah, I agree, mate. And you know, his booking was just as good as the graphic he created for it.
Oh, his graphic was amazing.
Yeah,
like I was so impressed with it.
He's very talented guy. Is Booker T.
Oh, he is, and like I've mentioned to you before, like when the blocks were announced, like when I seen him in my block, that was the one person I was a bit worried about.
Yeah.
Especially listening to him on the Simon Miller podcast, I was a bit like, he knows what he's talking about. He knows his stuff.
Yeah. I mentioned to him before how I sort of scouted him out when we listened to him on Simon Miller's podcast, and obviously you were one of the guys who were saying to me, you need to get this guy on your podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. I was really impressed with him, and it's just a shame about his bucking of the wrong superstar.
Yeah, because
he could be sitting on 2 points right now.
He could, exactly.
Yeah,
but he's got 3 matches left, including this one.
Yeah,
obviously.
well, that's it. He can still pull out the bag and win. So
yeah,
not all's lost.
No, but it's up to you today to defeat him.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed I can. Like, I'm not taking anything for granted, and like I said, he is the one that I did fear the most. So
yeah,
if he beats me, he's proved like what I always thought anyway.
Yeah, I think
but
as well,
I will
like the
try
start.
my best.
Yeah, the start of this A block obviously was a lot quieter than the B block. We had the loud mouth of Kinzakill, who obviously is no longer in the league, and obviously our very favourite MAFF, and Josh and Stu also like cutting promos.
Yeah, there was a lot of banter like on Twitter, wasn't there? So
A block is a lot quieter. However, looking on it now, A block is so hard to decide who's going to win. Like, I really cannot pick a favourite.
No, I like you said, I think every single one of us has got the potential to win.
Yeah.
And we're all very good bookers. So obviously me and Dom's had a bit of a spat on Twitter, but he is a good booker regardless of what I say on Twitter. So
yeah,
I have been impressed with him.
Opponent.
He is, yeah. So obviously get past George and then we'll Booker T and then see what I've got to deal with him. But yeah, for all the kicking off what we've had on Twitter, I have been impressed with him. So.
Yeah, and obviously you also have a new opponent in your block, not someone you have to face because you already defeated the person before him, Scotty Top Knotty. But Never's come in and really impressed from the off.
Mate, I am so impressed with him, and I'm really glad that I don't have to face him.
Yeah,
because his first bucking, like I think I've mentioned it to you, like it didn't feel like I was listening to it. It felt like I was watching it.
Yeah,
and if you can get that over an audio podcast, then you're doing something right.
Exactly. Yeah, it was very well told, and like I sort of liken it to Ricky Dent's first one, where it was very theatrical. Where if you closed your eyes and pictured it, he was describing it in your head.
Yeah, that's it. I remember that episode. I was outside the doctor's actually, and I was just listening to it in my car, and it felt like I was watching it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's some very good buckers in this league, not just our block, but in the league in total. I have been impressed with a lot of bookings. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah,
there's been some questionable ones which I've got a bit bored and I've just turned off and I've just listened to the result.
Yeah.
But majority of it, 90% of it, it's been fantastic.
Yeah, and it's it's great for the league having Never long. He's obviously proven that he can do it. He's on 3 points.
The thing is, he can still win. He's had 2 matches as like me, and he's on the same points as me already. So.
Exactly. He's got 1 match left. After this in round 3. Unfortunately for him, obviously he took Scotty Top Knotty's points, where Scotty lost the first match against you. So luckily for you, you won't, like we said, have to come up against Nev. Not for now, anyway. You never know what will happen after
you
the
never
league.
know. Yeah, that's it.
So I've got a lot of plans after the league finishes.
Right.
I'm not going to give it too much away, but let's just say there's going to be a lot of competition for the eventual winner of the league to keep his title. It's not going to be a case of we'll have to wait for the whole next season before the title is going to be put up for grabs.
No, that's interesting.
And that's all I'm going to say on that matter until we get a little bit later on down the line.
Yeah, well, that's it. I'll be looking forward to the announcement then.
Brilliant. Well, Mason Adams, we spoke a lot about the league now. Let's hear your fantasy booking of an AJ Styles heel turn.
Yeah, right, okay, so here it is. Obviously, I booked Daniel Bryan in my last booking, and coming out of that, he beat Finn Balor and AJ for the WWE title in a triple threat. So he's in this, because I'm keeping it within the same universe and carrying on from the last pay-per-view. So DB is the WWE champion, and he will now feud with Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
So the last booking, I teased a rivalry with AJ Styles and Finn Balor, with Finn Balor the heel in this booking. So I'm going to go down that road. It's the SmackDown after WrestleMania. So AJ Styles, he's out in the ring. He congratulates Daniel Bryan winning the title, and that he will be back challenging for his belt. He goes on and says, but that he has to get something off his chest. He calls out the Good Brothers, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. They come out, and AJ looks at both and just asks, why? Why did you attack me? And then try to apologise to me. I don't care about the club. All I care about is I've lost my friends. I've lost my brothers. I know I said I didn't care back then, but the fact is I do. And a history together is just too much to let it go. But it doesn't matter. I forgive you. But before they can say a word, Finn Balor's music hits. He comes out and says, they attacked you because you was in my way. I started the club. I'm the true leader, and they know who the leader is. AJ cuts him off and says, if that's the case, why did you leave them over there? Referring to New Japan. Because you see, the way I see it is if you were the leader, the true leader, as you say, you would have brought them with you. See, that's what I did. That's what the Phenomenal One did. He left, he came here, and he brought them with him, like a leader does. Balor gets back onto the mic and says, I see what you're trying to do. Trying to get in their head. Trying to get them on your side, blah blah blah, but it's not going to work. They know who the true AJ Styles is now. Again, AJ cuts him off and says, I'm not trying to do anything. I just want to know why from these guys, not you. Anderson and Gallows go to speak, but Balor just tells them to leave the ring. They look at each other and do reluctantly. AJ is left in the ring with no answer. That's the end of the segment for that week. Week later on SmackDown Live, it's announced for this week that it would be the Good Brothers versus the Usos, and whoever wins will become the number one contenders for the SmackDown Live Tag Team Championships and will face the New Day at WWE Backlash. Later that night, they have the match, and as you expect, a very good match. But during the match, AJ comes out and comes to the ring. He asks Gallows, who's on the apron, why. You can clearly hear him asking this. Gallows, distracted, jumps off the apron and tells AJ just to go, leave the ringside. But meanwhile, back in the ring, Anderson is watching on with his back turned. Jimmy goes for a roll-up and pins Anderson. The Usos win, and AJ's cost them the chance to become the number one contenders. AJ's very apologetic, he didn't mean it. Balor comes out and starts to argue with AJ. But the Good Brothers, having none of it, they're really pissed and just walks off. They leave AJ and Finn arguing. End of that segment for the SmackDown Live for that week. So a week later, AJ's in the ring and asks the Good Brothers to come out. They come out and AJ starts to apologise, but Gallows immediately cuts him off and says, you want to know why we did it? Why we beat you down? We didn't do it for Finn. But because you've gotten... We didn't do it for Finn, sorry. But because you've gotten soft for these people. What's happened to the AJ we knew over there? Again, referring to New Japan. The mean one who didn't care what the fans thought, took what he wanted. He went out there and wanted the gold, and he got it. But this AJ, a little pause, looks around, goes back to AJ, is a puppet. The crowd reacts, and as you'd expect, goes, ooh. Finn's music hits. He looks down to the ring and puts up the too sweet sign, but reverses it down like the OGs do. Gallows and Anderson attacks AJ and beat him down. They leave the ring. Finn comes down to the ring, steps over AJ with his mic and goes, now that's too sweet. End of that SmackDown. So the build up to next week's SmackDown is announced on Twitter, and it'll be AJ Styles go one-on-one with Luke Gallows. Match starts and a good exchange between the two, but AJ controls this match. Nearing the end of this match, Balor and Anderson distract AJ for Gallows to get the win. Later that night, AJ demands a match with the three of them. Paige says, if you can get the two partners, the match is yours and it will take place next week. SmackDown Live opens up backstage with a shot of AJ looking very focused. Dasher comes into shot and asks, asks AJ who his partners is. AJ says, "I've got my partners. That's all you need to know," and walks off. This is the first match of this week's SmackDown Live. Finn comes out with the Good Brothers and are waiting for AJ and his partners. AJ comes out, he cuts his music off and it goes silent. AJ gets on the mic and says, "You already know who my partners are, as they beat you a couple of weeks ago. Please welcome the number one contenders." The music hits, the Usos come out. They're AJ's partners. A typical tag match, and I'm not going to go too much into this match, but Finn and the Good Brothers get the win. AJ in the ring and is clearly frustrated. Finn and the Good Brothers just goes up the ramp laughing. Later that night, the Good Brothers and Finn walk into Paige's office and says now that they've beaten the number one contenders, they should be the new number one contenders. Paige laughs it off, but says, "You are now for one, so this is what we're going to do. Next week, if you can beat the Usos, you'll be added to the match at Backlash." Finn asks what he's going to do, just sit on the sidelines. Paige responds by saying, "No, you'll be on commentary, and to join you will be AJ Styles." We're now at SmackDown Live, week before Backlash. The main event of SmackDown is the Usos versus the Good Brothers. Jay Starks versus Anderson. Anderson quickly gets the upper hand and isolates him in the corner with quick tags between the two to keep him from Jimmy. Anderson keeps the ref busy whilst Jay's in the corner. Gallows starts choking Jay. Jimmy tries to get into the ring, but the ref stops him. Anderson, back on the attack, picks up Jay, but Jay throws a great right hand to send Anderson backtracking. He elbows Gallows and jumps over Anderson and tags Jimmy in. High pace to get the attack going, clotheslines, and then a Samoa drops him. Gallows enters the ring, but he throws him over the top rope. Jimmy shouts, "Uso!" to get the crowd going. Finn runs off commentary, jumps on the apron, but immediately gets pulled down by AJ, who has followed him. They start to brawl. Gallows comes back into the ring and lows blows Jimmy, leaves the ring, and Anderson goes for the pin. Jay tries to get in, but Gallows prevents this and holds his foot. 1, 2, 3. The Good Brothers picks up the win. It will be a triple threat for the titles at Backlash. Later that night, Shock goes backstage and AJ and Finn are absolutely brawling. Paige with security breaks them up and sets a match for Backlash. AJ Styles versus Finn Balor, and the winner will be the new number one contender for the WWE title. End of that SmackDown. So we're now at Backlash. That night, the Good Brothers capture the gold and are the new WWE Tag Team Champions. So now we get to AJ versus Finn. A very high-paced match. Finn controls the match early on and gets a better exchange in. AJ gets a break and gets some moves in, but Finn quickly shuts it down, and again he is controlling the match. AJ gets the better of him after Balor is taunting in between moves and taunting the crowd like a heel does. Finn is in trouble and AJ setting up the phenomenal forearm, but before he can do it, the Good Brothers come out with their newly captured tag team belts around their waist. AJ goes for it, but misses it. Finn takes advantage and does a series of moves. The Good Brothers, at ringside, egg Finn on. AJ again gets a break and gets the better of Finn. Each move AJ wants to do, he looks at Gallows and Anderson. He's looking very concerned, but tries to remain focused on the match. AJ gets some good offense in and sets Finn up for the phenomenal forearm again. Gallows and Anderson get up on the ring. AJ distracted, but goes to Finn. Finn ducks the phenomenal forearm, AJ runs at him, and Finn hits him with a sling blade. AJ gets up, and Finn does a shotgun dropkick to set up for the coup de grace. He hits it, and he pins AJ. Finn Balor is now the number one contender for the WWE title. End of the Backlash. So next week on SmackDown Live, Finn comes out and is congratulated by Paige. AJ comes out and says, "You only beat me because of Gallows and Anderson. But I got an idea. How about, again, you put that number one contender spot up for grabs at Money in the Bank, but they are banned from ringside." How would you feel about that? Balor just laughs it off. Paige goes, "You know what? That's a pretty good idea." Balor, "What? You can't be serious." "I am serious, so I'm going to set the match. At Money in the Bank, it will be AJ Styles versus Finn Balor." AJ smiles and does a too sweet gesture and walks out the ring. End of SmackDown, or end of that segment for that week. So, a week later on SmackDown. We're about 20 minutes into SmackDown. A shot of Balor backstage with Paige. You can't hear what they're saying, and it cuts to an advert, like they do. After the advert, Balor is in the ring and starts to cut a promo on how it's unfair that his number one contender spot is up for grabs, but AJ has nothing to lose, but everything to gain. So AJ, if you'd be so kind and come on down, I've got something to say to you. AJ's music hits and comes down to the ring. I've spoken to Paige and she is in agreement. Balor goes on to says, my number one contender spot is on the line. But if I'm going to do that, then I need something from you. If you win, you become the number one contender. But if I win, a pause, you have to leave SmackDown. AJ stunned at first, but he agrees to this. End of that SmackDown. During the week, it has been advertised on WWE social media that there will be a contract signing between AJ Styles and Finn Balor. SmackDown opens up with a shot of AJ looking very deep in thought, and the Usos come into shot, and they go on and say, are you sure about this? You know the Good Brothers will get involved, and it will cost you the match and your spot on here on SmackDown. AJ goes, I know, but I have to do this. This is the house that AJ Styles built. Usos go, well, if you're going to go through this, we will keep a very close eye on this match. And if they do get involved, we will be there to back you up. AJ thanks them. Later that night, we're at the contract signing. Balor comes out first. AJ next. You can feel the anticipation and anxiety in the air. This match is huge. Both men staring at one another. Paige gets on the mic and says, before you sign this contract, gentlemen, I just want you to make sure you're happy with the stipulation. A simple answer from both men, yes. Balor gets on the mic and says, I didn't actually think you'd agree to this, but you surprised me. Enjoy your last couple of weeks on SmackDown. That's it. They sign the contract, and in typical fashion, it just doesn't end there. AJ pushes the table into Balor and traps him in the corner. He gets the mic and says, you've just made a huge mistake. And he just walks out the ring and walks into the back without even looking back at Finn Balor. End of that SmackDown. We're now a week away to Money in the Bank. Backstage, Nakamura walks into AJ's locker room and says, it was nice to rest you, but it'd be better to say goodbye. Nakamura smiles and walks off. It's set later for that night, AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Commentators build this up as old foes renewing an old rivalry, and the fact it could potentially be AJ's last match on SmackDown. So a great match between the two, with Nakamura really taking control of this match. But AJ gets a comeback, and before you know it, Balor appears on the Titantron talking trash and try to distract AJ. Nakamura tries to take advantage, but AJ is wise to it. He knows what's going on. He does a series of offense moves and applies a calf crusher whilst looking at Balor. Nakamura taps out. Just left with a picture of Balor on the Titantron livid. AJ celebrating in the ring, and you get the feeling he knows that this will be his last match in SmackDown, so he's waving to the fans. Nakamura is getting up. AJ goes over and tries to help him up. Nakamura refuses his help, and he gets up on his own. AJ looks at the crowd, and he blows in. He just shrugs his shoulders, a little bit like, oh well, never mind. Crowd cheer for it, and it's just a little reference to WrestleMania last year. End of that SmackDown. So we're now at the Money in the Bank. Earlier in the night, the Good Brothers retained their titles. They were in a match with the Usos. Later in the card is the most anticipated match of the year. I'm building it up to that. AJ Styles versus Finn Balor, and obviously if AJ loses, he has to leave SmackDown. Both men come out. The match starts. Both men staring at each other, just walking around the ring for around 30 seconds, looking at the crowd. Everyone in the building feels how huge this match actually is. AJ gets the offense in and gets the better of Balor, beating him down into the corner. Ref counts to 4 and urges AJ off him and pushes him off. Clearly AJ is frustrated and knows the importance of this match. AJ goes back and does the same thing. Again, the ref gets AJ off Balor, and just as he beats him down, crowd starts to chant, let him go, let him go. Balor has a chance to get his breath back. AJ walks over and Balor pokes him in the eyes. Balor immediately goes on the offense and doesn't let him have a minute. Same thing, ref counts to 4 and breaks it up. Balor again goes on the attack, beats him down and controls this match for a while. But the 3/4 into this match, Balor pushes AJ into the ref. Balor low blows AJ and AJ is down. Balor goes out and gets a chair and re-enters the ring. The Good Brothers come out and Gallows grabs a chair and enters the ring. Anderson takes the chair off Finn. Usos come running out as they promised they would have his back. But as they enter the ring, are beaten down by the chairs and are thrown out the ring. Balor and Anderson both have chairs and Balor tells them to do it. But they won't. AJ gets up and is in the middle of all 3 men. He looks at Gallows and Anderson, turns around and smiles at Finn, puts this too sweet gesture up, but like Balor did a couple of weeks back and turns it down like the Gorillas of Destiny. And they start to beat down on Finn. The crowd is absolutely shocked. Commentators going mad, like they don't know what's going on. Gallows throws a ref into the ring, and AJ pins Finn, crowd booing. And you have AJ and the Good Brothers looking down on Finn with a too sweet gesture. We have a double turn, and that is how I would book AJ Styles heel. AJ stays on SmackDown and is now the number one contender. And yeah, all right, I've buried Finn Balor there a little bit, but this is an AJ Styles booking, so, and I had to reference something. And that's how I was booking, mate.
That is your booking, mate. That's how you want it to go. That is how it will go.
I kept it short and sweet and only 2 pay-per-views. So
okay, mate.
And yeah, I'm happy with that. So
let's find out whether I'm happy with it in the outro.
Before we get to the result, it's hashtag fantasy booking faction time. And this week, I asked you lovely people of Facebook and Twitter to create me a faction with a female wrestler with great mic skills, which is not Becky Lynch, because I feel like Becky Lynch is so on fire right now, everyone would have just chose her, and that would have been boring. And this female wrestler is to act as a manager for a Japanese wrestler to go for the main title as the second criteria, along with a tag team of mixed nations, and finally a guy under the age of 30 to be the prodigy of the group. And this week's third place is the Blue Spirit at Rodney_Push, with a team of Tessa Blanchard, Tetsuya Naito, Red Dragon, and Velveteen Dream, which is a pretty cool team. Second place is Courtney Summer at Villainous Havoc, with the team of Tessa Blanchard once again, Minoru Suzuki, Zack Sabre Jr., and Killer Cross, with finally Ilya Dragunov. And that is a very brutal team, and I really like that one actually. But first place is R.A.Eisenhan. I don't know whether that's your name, that's weird. With the Twitter handle of at synth_hunter. And their team consists of Zelina Vega, Shinsuke Nakamura, The Bar, Cesaro and Sheamus, obviously. And finally, my boy Andrade Cien Almas, with the name of Los Ingobernables de Estados Unidos. Absolutely nailed that. And as I sit here with my LIJ top on right now, I love that team, although I do feel like there was a bit of a missed opportunity to put Naito in instead of Nakamura. But nonetheless, you win anyway with this spotlight for the fantasy booking faction this week. Well done. But back to fantasy booking match now, and to the pros and cons of George Booker T to begin with. So the pros was a good setup and a great triple threat. I enjoyed that, with good callbacks to the previous events, sort of setting the scene around it. It was a good faction with Braun the Revival, all from North Carolina, like he stated, and I really liked the faction name of Southern Discomfort, so that all linked in very well, and I enjoyed that. He also gave a good reason for the heel turn, which I believe is the hardest part of this booking, something which, if I was to do this booking, I think I'd make the main focal point, because obviously it is an AJ Styles heel turn. You need to give a good reason for such a big babyface to turn heel, and I think he had that. It was also a good picture painting of Styles towards the Money in the Bank. That was very good, and very well done with the heel dirty tactics. And also it was a great return for Roman Reigns as well. That's not to be forgotten either. That was really good. The cons though, Styles is on SmackDown, which isn't referred to when he appears on Raw. I also think there would already have been a championship match booked before Money in the Bank comes around, which is slightly something which I thought was definitely a con in my eyes. And overall, really, I think it just lacked a little bit of detail in certain stages, which would have been a lot nicer. I know we were pushed for time when we recorded, but we could have stretched it out just a little bit longer, maybe. But over to Mason Adams now, his pros. Keeping his booking in the same universe, that's something I thought was really clever, actually, from Mason Adams, led straight on from his previous booking from Daniel Bryan. He also teased a booking before with the heel Balor, and obviously, like I said, because it was the same universe, it was very cleverly done. It was also a great angle to begin with the brothers and Balor. Bringing real-life events into it, like with bringing the brothers over, Finn Balor sort of obviously he came to WWE by himself. AJ Styles using that as an angle to sort of say that, he was good enough to bring the brothers over with him when he left New Japan, and referring to New Japan a lot, which I believe WWE needs to do a lot more, really. I also loved that promo calling AJ a puppet. That was really clever, and I like that from Mason Adams. Was great match descriptions as well. I thought he did really well on that, describing the match so you could sort of like close your eyes and picture as it was happening. And was a great match again description for Backlash. I thought that was really cleverly well done. And also moving straight forward to the next pay-per-view, Money in the Bank, I thought it was a really good stipulation for Money in the Bank that he used. And like he does all the time, he knows I love a contract signing, so putting that in, it's very clever from Mason Adams. And the great little bit from Nakamura and Styles, I thought that was a nice little touch, referring to obviously their rivalry that they had this year, using Nakamura in that way, I thought was really good. The cons, though, you have one con, because personally I felt I really struggled to find a con with yours. And I think one which you had a bit of a missed opportunity was probably when AJ and Finn were on the commentary team, helping out the commentary during the match. You could have had some sort of back and forth from AJ and Finn, like maybe promo. You mentioned obviously they were on the commentary team, but nothing happened after that other than when they started to brawl. So maybe you could have done something a little bit more with that, just to add a little bit more spice into their rivalry. So with all that being said, I can tell you that today's winner and the new top of A Block member is Mason Adams. An incredible booking, and the touches of real life stuff like I mentioned, and the keeping it in the same universe as his previous booking was something I admired and ultimately got you the win with your great story. So word of Mason Adams, you now sit top of A Block with 5 points. Booker T, you are very unlucky. I think it was a good booking, don't get me wrong, but just maybe lacked the depth that Mason had, and what your previous booking of Tyler Breeze had, although obviously it wasn't Tyler Breeze, but it was a very good booking. But on to the next matches for you guys. I'm excited to see how we get on in the final match of round 2 before we move on to round 3. But thank you for everyone for listening. Make sure you are following the Twitter page for the next fantasy booking faction at Omega_Luke to join in on that. You can also get that on the Facebook page. I normally post it a day early on the Facebook page, and that is Omega Luke Wrestling Podcast. Give that page a like. And of course, if you wish to help the podcast anymore, as I am an independent podcaster, and podcasts are not cheap to run, you can do so on the Patreon page at patreon.com/Omega Luke. Soon I shall have a lot more merchandise designs ready and available for you guys who are wanting to buy t-shirts and much more, because I've had quite a few people contact me about that. So thank you once again, and make sure you are subscribed on iTunes, Spotify, or however you are listening, and I'll catch you next time. Bye bye.
Your Omega Luke Wrestling Podcast, Fantasy Booking League 2018.
How about you arrange it so that Simon Muller, or whatever his name is, can be my first victim?
Going to have to keep him in line.
The experience that you've all been waiting for.
Where are these challenges, Mr. Omega?
Omega looks shredded, Kevin.
It's looking doom and gloom for WWE.
I want Edge. Give me Edge.
Seen Omega in fantastic shape before, but never anything like this.
I'm a big fan of Mason Adams. That is his real name.
Math. Or MAFF.
4 horsewomen against 4 horsewomen. That's quite obvious. But Shayna Baszler turn on Ronda Rousey.
I think if Math doesn't win, you'll actually cry.
Why is he ducking me?
And become the first ever Omega Luke Fantasy Booking League champions.
And I'm just ready for the others after I take the 2 points off this champ.
For the prize of the Undefeated Streak of 1 t-shirt.
And be the OLW World Champion. Oh yeah, it's time to get on board or get left behind.